Hi Year 11. We're just going to go over using simultaneous equations to solve problems, and because you should all know how to draw a straight line graph by now, I'm going to be using a program called DESMOS, which is going to help us draw our graphs. Now, we've got a problem. Zaina buys and sells books. Income received by selling N books is calculated using the formula, N books is used by calculating the formula income equals 16 times the number of books. Okay, so she's definitely going to have an income. Problem is, you don't just have stuff in your shop and start from scratch. There's also a cost involved. So the costs associated in selling in their books are calculated using the formula C equals 8n plus 24. What she needs to do is she needs to find out how much she can spend, or how many books she needs to sell before she can break even, before she can start making a profit. Because let's face it, even though you love books, you still want to make a little bit of money when you've got a book shop selling them. So I've got some questions. Draw the graph of I equals 16n, okay, which is her income received, and the cost, C equals 8n plus 24 on the same number plane. So these are going to, this graph is going to show us what selling the books looks like. It's a linear function because n isn't squared or cubed, and where they meet should be the spot where they're going to break even. To draw my graphs, I'm going to use this program called DESMOS. It's an app on your devices and it's a website on your computers, on your laptops, and I'm going to be able to go and write in and draw my different graphs. In this space, I can write in the formula that I'm needing. So my first formula is my income, and from my book it says I equals 16n. Can you see as I'm writing, I'm getting my graph made for me, and this makes sense. If I sell no books, I have no income. Oh, I don't really like the scale on this, it's going to be a bit big I think, but let's see how we go. To write my next formula down, I just hit the line. Oh, and we notice also, it might be a little bit difficult, but there's a green symbol just on the edge that matches my green graph. So my next one is C equals 8n plus 24. So I'm just typing in what I need. Alrighty, and you can see that we've got some, I can tell my coordinates at different places when I put it on. This looks way too big, so what I can do is I can just expand it out using my numpad, or you could do it on your screen by just putting two fingers on and screening it out. Okay, so I'm starting to get a bit of a picture here. As I enlarge the graph, you can see I'm getting more and more detail. This is one of the reasons why it's really important to get your scales right when you're doing a graph. The better it gets, the more details you have. Okay, so what have I got? I've got I equals 16n, so my income was my books here. I've got C equals 8n plus 24. That means that that orange graph should cut the y-axis at 24. So that means I'm going up to 50 here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So each thing is 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So I'm right. That cuts it at 24. When I click on that spot where it cuts it, I can see that I've got my coordinates. So my coordinates are 0, 24. That's where it's going to start. I'm also interested in this coordinate of 3, 48. I'm going to find out what that tells us soon, because that is the point at which they both meet. So let's have a look at our question again. In fact, I'm going to cut that. As you can see, I did one before, just to make sure I got it right for you. I'm using a little snippet program here. This isn't as good as drawing your own graphs because I don't have any labels or axes, but I'm doing this to get some information. So I've cut that. I'm going to copy it and I'm going to paste it to my form. Okay, so let's see. What do I need? Draw the graph of I equals 16n and C equals 8n plus 24. Well, this is where I've got it. However, remember, this is going to be the cost and the income on this side, and my N, then my x-axis is going to be the number of books I'm selling. So that is the number of books, that is the cost or the income. That is the number of books. On this one, that's going to be the cost. Okay, so let's wrap the text around here so I know what I'm doing. Okay, so let's see. A, draw the graph. I've done that. What are my initial costs? My initial costs, I'm going to look at my orange graph, and my initial costs are going to be $24. So initial cost equals $24. Can you see when I'm answering it, I'm just writing a few words just so that I know what I'm doing. Okay, my next one. Use the graph to determine the number of books needed to be sold to break even. Okay, so breaking even is when they cross over. So I need to sell, my number of books is 3. So I need to sell, sell 3 books. I got that by that. If you're doing this normally, you just count up your points. So 2, 4, it's halfway through, so 3. 3 books is where you're going to, what you need to sell to break even. Then our final question is, how much profit or loss is made when 6 books are sold? I'm going to go back to our DESMOS graph by this stage. Now remember, my income is the green graph, so that's the one I want to read when I'm looking at my profit and loss. So 6 books are 2, 4, 6 books. If I follow up, and the reason I love DESMOS is I can press on there until I get 6 for my X value, and if you have a look at a value of 6 books being sold, I'm going to make $96, or my income is going to be $96. So back to our work, and we'll make $6. Oh, sorry, $96 when 6 books are sold. But that is not my profit, because remember, I ended up having to pay $24 before in costs before I get started. Well, hang on, and the costs for selling that, let's have a look at what the costs are going to be. So cost equals, and we'll go back to DESMOS again. The cost for 6 books is 246. So 6 books, and the cost is going to be $72 to actually sell those books. So 6 books, $72. Back to my original one, equals $72. So profit equals $96 minus $72, which equals 8 plus 6. It's going to be $14. It's not that much, is it? So those questions can be quite tricky, these ones. Just remember, you've got a lot of information in this graph that you need to use to find out what your profit's going to be. Okay, I hope this helps. Now it's really important that you have a go at the homework sheet or any homework that I've left you, and use this video. If you get stuck, you can go over it and go to the point where you're stuck on and see if this helps you. Of course, you can ask me at any time. Thanks, Year 11.